Welcome to Progress in Practice, where we explore what it really takes to build and sustain a professional service business. The hard lessons, the smart moves, the uncomfortable truths. Because success leaves clues, if you're willing to look for them. I'm Charlie Redding. Let's dive in. So, Michelle, welcome to the Progress in Practice podcast. I am, as always, I love chatting to you, Michelle. There's always so much energy, so much wisdom. I know we're going to have a great conversation. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. For those people that don't know Michelle Hoskins, what do you do? Who do you help? And what makes you different?
Okay, well, I'll do it in reverse because I'm not actually sure there's possibly anybody on the planet quite like me. I think when I popped out, they definitely broke that mold and there's no way the world could cope with anymore. So I think the easiest way of summing me up is I am a little bundle of energy. I think people call me, say that about me all the time. I think for me, I suppose my primary focus is always, if someone's going to do something, is do it properly and do it the best they can and try and get the most out of it. Because let's be honest, life is short. We haven't got time. And I think I fell into helping businesses because I think I just was fascinated by how inefficient and how ineffective they all were generally, because most business owners are kind of accidental business owners, as we know. And I think I just was very quick to spot things in their businesses just through chatting to business owners. I mean, I do it in coffee shops when I'm out with people or pubs or restaurants. And I'm just like, why do you do that? And so I've got this natural inquisitiveness of wanting to know how people are doing things, how they're doing, what's happening. And I fell into helping business owners effectively just run better businesses. And it started like that nearly 30 years ago. But more recently, and I think this is where my absolute passion, and I think I've always known it's here, but it's actually focusing on those people in operations. So, we've created more recently a community for those in business and operations, those that are effectively running these businesses. We've got events, we've got community projects, we've got campaigns, we've got skill stacking, we've got, you name it, we've crammed it literally into this community. So, who am I? I'm a businesswoman, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm an author, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm the owner of a crazy cocker spaniel. I'm a gardener, I'm a baker. I cram it all as much as I can into a possible day. But I think who I am is I'm all about doing things properly. I hate people cutting corners. And I think I just apply that logic and that energy to people who run businesses because it doesn't have to be as hard as most people make it. But I just absolutely love operations and how things work. And that's my kind of go-to passion.
I think it's brilliant because one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, and obviously we've been friends for years.
Yeah.
But what I love about what you're doing now, even more so than what you did kind of before this, is there's no one really coaching the kind of person that sits in operations. It's like there's lots of people coaching, like me, coaching people that run the business and own the business, but not the people that are kind of plugged into the business to head up the ops. And I think what you're doing there is brilliant. I've obviously seen the community and spoken at your conference, and I think it's fantastic. What made you realize the pivot?
Well, honestly, I mean, the real girly story is I literally thought I was having a midlife crisis. And I just thought, business owners, I love them, right? And I'm a business owner and I've worked with them forever. But I just thought, can I actually, because half the time, Charlie, I honestly feel like I'm bashing my head against a brick wall talking to business owners. And part of the reason for that is, I think there's two main reasons, is there's a lot of businesses that can make really good money by being mediocre. Right. And I think that causes a problem because it's like, well, I'm trying to get them to do things better and trying to them to be more organized and have better team structures. And they're like, I don't really need to. Thanks. I'm making good money. I'm good at being in business. But, the teams often are the ones that just sort of don't get looked after. But by the by, so I think I just got to that point. It was probably about 2 years ago that I thought, can I actually see myself like literally coaching, supporting business owners for the rest of my working life? And the answer straight out was no. And a lot of soul searching and a lot of deep diving into myself and how I felt about my clients and how I felt about my job and my business. And I thought, it's not, the problem I have isn't like what I'm doing, it's who I'm doing it for. And that was my line. And then honestly, I just thought about, who am I really? And I'm all about standards and I'm all about the detail and I'm all about kind of doing things properly, as I've said. And I just thought, if I jack all this in, who's going to look after the people that are actually running these businesses, i.e. the business operations, practice managers, general managers, whatever you call them. And I just felt so sad. And I just was like, right, that's it. And this was like the February. And by the July, we'd launched this whole community, LinkedIn group, membership platform, website, events, conference, the whole kit and caboodle. And I was not messing around because I'm 48 this year. And I'm like, there is no time to not do this. And I just thought, I'll be really peed off if somebody else does this before I do. And that was like my steerer to go, Michelle, just crack on. And I did it. And we're at 500 members, over in our LinkedIn group. We've got 200 members on our membership platform. We've got conference, we've got retreats running. I mean, it's mind blowing, but it's a testament to the need for this in the area that you say. Like, there's nothing for them, nothing, there's hardly anything around.
And it's actually now, on reflection, it's really obvious because you obviously helped me when I was running Efficient Portfolio. You helped me kind of build all the standards into that business, and you helped me, and you helped the leadership. But the people that thought you absolutely walked on water, that were blown away by everything that you do, and the kind of the way that you were going to facilitate this within our business, was people like the ops manager, the
Yeah.
Helens and Charlottes of the business as it was then. They were just blown away because they just never saw anything like this before. So
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. I think what you're doing
You
is
know,
really
Charlie, I get really lovely messages. Like, I mean, I've got one just before Christmas, and one of the members inside of the community messaged me because she had my mobile because I was meeting her for coffee. And she said, you are the person in my life that I never knew I needed until I met you. Right. And, and we've become friends, we've become, colleagues, we've become, a part of this network. And actually, I think that sums it up. It's a bit like when I talk about what we're doing within the community, it's like, well, it's flipping obvious, but only when someone says it. It's like, and I get messages like, thank you for championing our role and fighting our corner, and, amazing comments. And yeah, and all I'm doing, and I say all I'm doing, but my job is predominantly to facilitate this movement, to facilitate all these people coming together. And I blooming love it. Absolutely love it. They're my people. Why would I not love it every single day? I love it.
anyone listening to you on
Yeah.
this now can tell it's your people because you're so passionate about it.
Yeah.
So if you could go back, obviously we've known each other since about, I think, 2006 when we met at a bits
Mm.
coaching event. If you could go back to that person, that younger self that's at the start of your business founding stage, what would you say to yourself? What advice would you give yourself and why?
Well, that's a double-edged sword question, that is, because there's a few things that jump immediately to my mind. At the time, I had a partner, and I didn't have a daughter at that point. And my partner at that time was amazing, but he wasn't my long-term person. And I think the thing that I would go back probably before 2006, right, Charlie, is find a partner in, this is a personal response to the question, and I will do the business one in a minute, but it's find a partner in your life that is going to have your back and be your greatest fan the whole way through. Like, that is number one rule. And I've made some absolute flipping howlers decisions over the life of, relationships, people who have drained all my money, people who have, like, I thought they had my back but didn't. And actually I know categorically that my choice of man and partner has absolutely slowed down my progress. There is absolutely no question about it. And so I think if I was going back to my younger version of Michelle, I would be like, find a partner that adds so much to your life and you can equally add so much back, and find that person who's your greatest fan.
Great.
That would be my first one. Because I don't think in business, whether you're in business or you support businesses, whichever, you can't do what you do. I can't do what I do without the solid foundation of our family unit. Like, it's not even possible. Right? It doesn't matter how good your business is. So I think that's the first thing. And I thought very early on that all this that I am was too much for a lot of people. And I now realize that they're just not my people. So, you talk about Helen and Charlotte just being like, oh my God, she's the most amazing thing. I've got people that actually can't stand me, like literally will avoid me at conferences and will walk the other way because they can see me coming for whatever reason, right? But they're not my people, and that's okay. So I think I would definitely give myself the top tips of, follow your gut instinct, be exactly who you are, completely unleashed as early and as quickly as you possibly can. And all this kind of you're too much, maybe that people don't want to hear it, maybe that's not a good idea. I'd just be like, remove it from your mind. Like as soon as it enters, because I'm 20 years later than I should be. I'm not saying I'm 20 years too late, but I'm 20 years later than I should be doing this because I should have done this 20 years ago without a shadow of a doubt. And truthfully, Charlie, the conversations we had early doors, that too. Like, I mean, I remember at the time you must be thinking, what is she doing? Like, what is she like? She's doing this, but really she should be doing that. And you're a business coach, right? So I think it would just be just do it. Follow your gut instinct and just let yourself loose on the world. And I think we'd be 20 years further down the line. But better late than never is what I keep saying to
Absolutely.
myself. Like, bring it on. Bring it on.
Absolutely. And I think that's, I mean, it's really, really important. And it may be already the answer to the question I'm going to ask next, but I'm going to ask it anyway, but in
Yeah.
case it brings something out differently. And obviously, so you've got a daughter. If you couldn't leave any money or any assets to her,
Yeah.
but you could just leave one piece of wisdom, what would that be?
Well, the one I think about this again, a two-sided answer. I think about this all the time, and I think to myself, Ruby. I actually say this to her all the time. Like, be confident. Because I see so many people getting their own way or talk themselves out of something or stop themselves achieving their potential because they have this imposter syndrome, lack of confidence. So confidence is believing everything that you're doing. And the second thing I think is just don't ever settle for more than you deserve. And everybody knows what they deserve. Everyone knows what they deserve in partnerships, in life, in success, and don't settle for anything less than that. That would be it. And I think girls are particularly bad at, settling and like even little things like she has all these boys. My daughter's, she's a lovely little thing and she has all these boys like wanting to ask her out. And I say to her all the time, would you ask him out if he weren't asking you out? And she goes, no. I said, well, don't go out with him then. I was like, because you can't like him that much. Otherwise you'd be wanting to go out with, with him. Although saying that has happened in my last 3 relationships. They've asked me and I've said, yeah, and maybe that's not a good idea. So, so she obviously gets it from me. So I don't know. I think that's it. I think it's don't settle ever for anything less than you deserve. And actually, that's probably why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because, with 700 members, my message is have the confidence. Don't settle for any nonsense in your businesses. Don't be told what to do when you know what the right thing to do is. Don't settle for a mediocre salary package. Push for a greater package because you deserve it. And, so I'm kind of empowering a lot of these people to sort of, I suppose not only just earn their stripes, but be rewarded for them.
Brilliant. And it's a part of, knowing lots of people that perform that role within that business. That's something that those people need because they're often backstage for a reason,
Yeah.
but they still need to be empowered and drive things forward. So I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
What's the biggest obstacle that's blocking you at the moment from achieving your goals and what you're setting out to do? What are your biggest challenges?
Well, honestly, the business owners, the owners of the businesses. I'll give you an example. So, we both understand the financial services marketplace, right, Charlie? I saw on LinkedIn the other day that there was a particular conference that's being run at the end of the year. And within 15 minutes of tickets going on sale, 100 financial advisors booked tickets. Now, this conference is twice the price of my conference on the 1st of October. I've sold 3 tickets.
Wow.
And I know that probably every single one of those 100 people have got a senior administrator, business manager, ops person in their businesses, but they won't let them out because they're too busy, right? It's a little bit like controlling them. They won't, we know loads of people that go to events and conferences and workshops and they're part of masterminds and they get oodles and oodles of value. And, I've got to get the business owners to go, do you know what? My Samantha, my Sarah, my James, my Robert, they need what I have. They need to have the same exposure and the peer group, the support that I get in my peer groups and my conferences, that I can't give them. Because the business owners can't support them properly. It's simple. They just don't know what to do with them in the main. So my biggest challenge is getting the business owners to let them out. You know, I've had to write, Charlie, it's insane. I have had to write a business case, right, to for business managers and ops managers to give to their bosses of why they deserve £175 for a conference ticket, or why they deserve £47 membership for a community a month. I have to write, and you want to see this business case, it's like 20 pages. Benefits, ROI. And they will do that on a dinner out with a client before the mains arrived. Right. So actually my biggest challenge at the moment is business owners actually going, yeah, I need to do this because I can't do this without these people, and I need to let them flap their wings and do their thing. And the other thing is, just as a side point, which is not the main thing, I need industries and professional sectors to get behind this. Like I'm putting sponsorship offers out and sponsorship packages for events and conferences because I can just put on a better conference, because I can't charge any more than £175 for that conference ticket, because I've got people who won't be supported to pay that amount of money. I can't double the price of that ticket. I'll have nobody in the blooming room. So if I can get sponsors, whether it be back office systems or document management or business systems or HR companies, whoever that want to get in front of business and operations managers, who quite frankly are the future decision makers of all business, right? Because business is going to get more difficult to do, then I need that support to like champion that behind the scenes, because, I can't charge £300 for a ticket. I'll have nobody in the room. And it's so sad.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I think when I think back to efficient portfolio, which was when I had a bigger team and had the people that you're talking about in my team, I still have Charlotte in the trusted team. But one of the things that I think the moment that was a realization to me was when I came up with the concept of the learning library, and I was reading a book on a beach in Greece at the time, and I was like, I get so much from reading these books, but
Yeah.
wouldn't it be amazing if my team were willing to read these books? Because if the whole team were learning in the way that I'm learning, this would be a completely different business. And so the learning library was like this opportunity to go, well, actually, it's worth me spending money on these people, because I mean, I paid for their financial service exams. Why wouldn't I pay for them to go and
Yeah.
do other things that are going to actually improve this? So, like, and actually, I remember when I obviously spoke at your conference, I mentioned the learning library in kind of passing, really. It wasn't
Yeah.
really a key point. And yet, when you did that sort of end of day session, quite a few people said that learning our library concept
Loved it.
is a great concept. So I suppose, what I suppose I can do is I'll obviously I can give you the learning library concept. We turned it into a little set of white
Great.
paper, but what I'll also do is put it in the show notes, because if anyone else is listening to this guy,
Yeah.
I need to understand why, then you can just kind of learn about how we implemented the learning library, because I think that might help. And that kind of leads me on to the segue that I always love to talk about, and I love to talk about it. But that's kind of like books and mentors and coaches and resources. So what book, mentor, or framework have you found most helpful, and where does it show up in your business?
Well, actually, I think there's a few key. I think I'll start on people. I think, I know we're doing this podcast and we've been friends for a long time, but you personally have had a huge impact on me over my journey, and we've always, diaries aside, because we're both super busy and with kids and families and stuff, but we've always had a lot of time for each other. Always, we've often had days together where we've got together and we've just chatted, like no real agenda. You've been so giving. So I think you've had a huge impact on me. I think another person, I think before I actually married him, although I did pledge that I would never marry a financial planner, or snog one, quite frankly, and I ended up actually marrying one, was actually my husband Stuart, because I met him on the same coaching program that kind of we first met, strategic coach, and so I think Stuart is very commercial. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm particularly commercial. So Stuart's always had a very commercial outlook on, and he runs a great, business. And then I think, and there are a lot of books that you've recommended, like the Andy Harrington book. What was it? Present for Purpose or something, like the green one with the
Profit.
Passion to Profit. I mean, what a bloody good book that is, regardless of whether you ever go on a stage ever, right? Another great book I was recommended to many years ago, back about 2003, was a book called Necessary Endings. where it's basically, stop trying to, have a rose bush with thousands of semi-looking roses, cut the dead ones off and have 20 that look absolutely amazing. And, essentialism, a great book. And I think these have all, and there's many, many, many more, right? But I think they've all shown up in little bits. They almost, when I've read them, I almost bring the sparkly pixie dust and just sprinkle it over my business. So I can't tell you one thing that I've learned from all of them, but I can definitely tell you they've influenced. And I think that's the point. Like, what I'm actually saying is I've put myself in an environment around amazing people, reading great books, listening to great speakers, and if you think about it, some of our best conversations, as many do, happen at the bar, in a coffee shop, on a beach, at a conference. Look at that walk we did when we got to, was it Miami? I think we got up and I think we did that. I think I'm sure it was Miami.
No, was it Boston?
Oh, it could have been actually. Oh, it was. And we literally just we landed and we just went for a run. And
Oh, no. You are talking
it was
about.
it was
Yeah,
Miami.
it was Miami.
And we just walked, didn't we? We just walked and walked and walked. We found the Whole Foods and then walked back, and we just chatted for, and that's I suppose where the magic happens. Truthfully, I don't think it's ever a silver bullet in one thing or one book. And I think that's what I'm creating in BOMS. That's what I'm trying to create for these operations managers. Just the chats. And
Well, it's something I've found myself saying more and more lately is it's really difficult to find an idea that will make 100% difference, but it's actually quite easy to find 100 ideas that will make 1% difference. The outcome is the same. So like what you're describing is exactly this. It's like, okay, 1% idea here, 1% idea here, 1%
Yeah.
idea here, and actually it builds into something amazing as opposed to kind of going out there and looking for the, oh my God, the spectacular one. So I think that's
Well, and
fantastic.
yeah, and I think one thing that you have definitely inspired me over anybody else, hands down, is this like, and I'll use the word incessant because I think that is the right word, but this incessant desire to just learn and learn and learn. You're like a sponge. And I know you do stuff when you're running and on your bike and all that, and you're listening to loads of stuff, but everybody needs to take a leaf out of your book, and I'm like, be more Charlie, like listen more, read more. But it's because you're quite right. You don't know, you never know what you're going to pick up from that conversation, that book, that audio book, whatever. You've got to be in
Well,
it
I
to
think
win it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think you get to the end of a book and you go, okay, maybe I did find one idea in that could improve things. So the question, if you read one book a year, that's one idea, isn't it?
So
You
good.
read a book a week, that's 52
Yeah.
ideas, isn't it? So it's a
Yeah.
it's a different approach, but it's very
But,
kind of you to
and
say.
this is the magic thing is like, many of your ideas, you've taken them back into your business and actually had somebody help you implement them, right? Because there's no way in this world you're ever going to be able to take any of those ideas and just do them yourself. And that's where the people that are holding the business up from the inside, where they are the people that are going to help you implement. And that's what's magic about it, really, for me, is helping those people help you run these amazing businesses.
Well,
With
I
all-
mean, we all know that the biggest bottleneck in most businesses is the business owner. So if you can get yourself out of the way and have, the people that are actually
Yeah,
running a lot of the backstage stuff
yeah,
improve without your needing, you
yeah,
to do it,
for sure.
I think is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
So there's business owners listening to this that are thinking, how do I find out more about Michelle Hoskins, about Standards International, about kind of getting my ops person to come and be a part of that community? Where's the best place for them to go find you?
The best place to go is the website because there's all sorts on there, and that's leadersinbusinessoperations.com. And this is where we've got details about our community, our events, who's in our team, what knowledge and support we share. There's oodles and oodles of information on there, and it's almost like a gateway to other things. We've also got a group on LinkedIn, which is the Business and Operations Management Network. That's on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn, just Michelle Hoskin. And just reach out by email and we can put the details in. But I just want to find out what people are trying to do, why they're not letting their business and ops people out of the office. Like, what are they scared of? What might they need? And most of them have no training and no support, and the business owners have no clue what to do with them at all. So they give them these grand titles, these pay rises, and then hope for the best and hope they'll stick around. And they are the biggest flight risk role in that business, in every business, because they're the most unsupported person in that team. And that's what we're here for.
And I, having been at your conference last year and seen this community, I could not recommend highly enough sending the team, the ops manager to this event, because I think you're absolutely right. The flight risk is huge, but also, as you and I know, like one of your 6 human needs is growth. And people, like, if you're paying them a good salary, they're unlikely to leave for a bit more money. But if they don't think they're growing and developing, they will leave. And I think one of the greatest impacts of the learning library for me was when everyone felt that they were growing individually. They very rarely wanted to leave.
I agree, and I know, and just to springboard from what you just said, the reason that BOMS is different is it's founded on growth. We have these 4 foundations of learning, right? So it's founded on growth, but it's about growing together as a community. So all of our events, everyone's involved. All of our check-ins, everyone's involved. Like, we leave nobody behind. Like, no one is left out. Conference, everyone's invited. It's not an exclusive members only conference. Everyone's invited. If they're in any sector, in any business, they're invited. Our retreat is the same in May. It's open doors. Like, if you want to buy a ticket and you're in that role, come in. We're here for you. So it's growth in numbers for me, Charlie. It's like, let's grow together. Let's support together. Let's be together. And that's the community element of it. In your business with the Learning Library, they're doing it together as a small community of inside the business, right? I'm just creating a bigger community with all of your Charlottes all together, learning together. And that's the power. The ideas that they get from each other and the relationships they're building and the mentorship they're getting from each other, it's mind-blowing. I see it. I just watch from the sidelines. And I was at an office yesterday with a business and ops manager who's in our community, and I said, actually, we were just talking, and she was, oh, hang on, sorry, I just got to message Remain back, and Remain's another member that they've never met before. They've never actually met, but they're messaging each other because, they speak online. And one's a business and ops manager in this business, and one's a business and ops manager in this business. And I'm like, I love it. And I'm like, this is amazing, because they didn't know each other before.
It's giving them their tribe, isn't it? It's as you and I know, because we met in this sort of environment, that as the business owner, we need our tribe. It's one of the reasons why we created the Trusted Team, to help people, solve the entrepreneurial loneliness problem.
Yeah.
But the ops manager needs their tribe too. And I think what you're doing is absolutely brilliant. And I would really recommend people
Charlie,
to check it out. So, Michelle, it's always an absolute pleasure chatting.
We could go for hours, couldn't we?
We could go for hours. But there's so much wisdom that's come out of this conversation. A huge thank you for being a part of it. We'll put all the links in the show notes. And as a reminder, the Trusted Team brings you the Progress in Practice podcast, and the Trusted Team helps service-based businesses business owners build a saleable and scalable business. So check out trusted.team if you want to find out more. Thank you again, Michelle.
Pleasure. Thanks.
If this conversation resonated, you'll find more support, structure, and community inside the Trusted Team, where ambitious service-based founders come to build businesses that are scalable, saleable, and sustainable. You can find out more at thetrusted.team. And if you're enjoying Progress in Practice, please make sure you follow the show and leave a rating and review. It really helps more founders find these conversations and to bring you better and better guests. So until the next time, keep progressing.